Welcome back to the She Thrives Influential Women podcast. I am your host, Lori Murphy, and I am an empowerment coach for women, as well as an award-winning published author and public speaker, and your host of this amazing podcast where we are here together to grow, to thrive, and to inspire, right? That is the whole purpose of this podcast. It is something that is just a piece of my mission to be able to provide a message to women, to let them know that they are not alone, to let them know that they can do whatever it is that their heart desires, whether it's in health and wellness or fitness or career, family, whatever it is, but wherever your heart lies, wherever you feel stuck, this podcast is here to support you and to give you that motivation, that inspiration, and that empowerment that you need for every day. And a little bit about me is that my story began when I was just 29 years old, back in 2011, November 12th, when I began my journey in recovery from alcoholism. And in that journey, I had a lot of healing, self-discovery, and finding a way to loving myself, finding my self-worth, and hearing my calling to be able to help women along the way in their journeys. And so if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Never miss another episode. I bring on amazing guests on a weekly basis just for you that will share their stories so that you know that you're not alone. So I want to talk a little bit about today about when life throws us curveballs. And it does have a tendency to often throw us curveballs, but the one place we least expect it is our routine health checkups. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory on something that just recently happened to me. And I want to let you know that this is not something that is uncommon. This does happen. I think most of the women I have talked to recently have had an experience very similar to this, but I was very thrown off. So a few episodes back, I talked about perimenopause and menopause, and I shared a little bit about hormone imbalance and my personal experience with it. And I went to my primary doctor, who referred me over to my OBGYN to talk about what my options were. So we came up with the plan. I'm going off hormonal birth control, and I'm going to just let my body go completely natural. And I am so excited about it. And while I was there, the nurse had set up for a routine PAP, and we weren't scheduled to do it, but I was due. So he said, "Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm here. I'm ready. Might as well." Right. Wasn't even anything that I was thinking about. He wasn't thinking about. And then I got the results. And I'm not sure if all of you have the same, um, you know, app, or should I say the same, what do you call it there? Portal with your medical providers, but I'm with Trinity Health. And Trinity Health has a patient portal where you can see your test results, you can schedule and cancel appointments, you can make payments, you can send messages to your healthcare providers to inquire about information, you can have prescriptions refilled. It's an amazing little feature. I love the portal, but the only downfall is that you see your results before your doctor does. And I had my notifications turned on, which I very rarely have notifications turned on to my phone because with ADHD, they distract the hell out of me. And so I got the alert and I opened it up, and it had abnormalities that were showing up. And now I've had, some like mild things in the past where they just weren't concerned about it. They were like, "Yeah, this kind of showed up, but you know what? You'll be fine. It'll go away. No big deal." Move on with my life. But this time this time it was more significant. So, if for some of you who are listening, and I hope that you are having your yearly PAPs done, a PAP is essentially a screening that us women do on a yearly basis, and it screens for cervical abnormalities. And I got to tell you, it shocked me. It shocked me. And I have to say that I was a little bit scared because that wasn't something that I've ever experienced before, where I'm looking at something that's saying possible precancerous cells. And you see that word cancer, and I don't care who you are, it affects you, right? Like it because your mind can go in all sorts of different directions. And I had to do what I had to do to try to keep my mind from going into those directions. And that was the first thing I did was I reached out to somebody in my life that I know had gone through this, who had their own experience, who actually had cervical cancer. And furthermore, within that same week, I had gotten my mother's results to send over to my doctor from her gene testing. And, cervical and endometrial cancers are genetic in my family. And so I'm like, could this be? Is this ironic or what? Right? Like, literally, I think within like the same day or within the few days of each other, I got both. Right. So I'm like, well, this is cute. Right. Like, what do I do with this? And so I reached out to the first person I thought of, and they gave me helpful information. I was looking more for personal experience, and I got a lot more of the medical end, which was perfectly fine because, it did help. But then I had some other women in my life who were like, oh, yeah, I've been through that. Yep, been there, done that. And, shared with me a little about what they experienced, and it made things less scary because I knew that this was an uncommon thing. And deep down inside, I knew that, but I needed to hear it. And that's what the beautiful thing is about having a sisterhood of women in your lives who can tell you their experience and what they went through and how they got through it. And they love you through it. And, after a couple days of that, of feeling that, I I was good. I was calm. And then I finally hear from my doctor. And in my mind, I'm preparing for, yeah, we're just going to watch it and see you back in 6 months. We'll do another test then, just see if it all went away. And instead, I got, as you saw in your tests, this happened and I'm concerned. I want to bring you in for a colposcopy. All right. Well, that I kind of understood was a very strong possibility, but I guess wishful thinking was different. So I scheduled the appointment. And again, I want to just stress the fact that if this is something that you see and this is something that you experience for the first time and it throws you and it brings tears to your eyes and you feel some fear around it, that is completely normal and it is completely okay. And it is okay to say, I'm a little nervous, or I'm feeling nervous. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling worried, whatever it is, I need to cry, and just let yourself cry, because there may be people in your path. They may try to, you know, say to you, this isn't a big deal. So don't cry about it. Don't worry about it. That will try to, in their way, comfort you by making you feel like you have to stuff it all down. And you don't have to. You can cry and you can feel your feelings around it, because it's a shock when you don't expect it. I certainly wasn't looking for that. I wasn't going there for that. I went to talk about hormones, and all of a sudden I'm hearing that I'm getting this presented to me. And I'm just like, well, this is how I'm going to choose to look at it. We weren't going to do this procedure. It wasn't a part of the plan, right? And we did it because I was due and I was there. So the way I see it is this is God taking care of me. This is God looking out. This is God saying, you need to address this, because the thing is that if it goes without being addressed and taken care of, it can turn into something more down the road if it's left neglected. So that's why it's important to have your yearly screenings, whether it's your regular scheduled PAP, whether it's you know, your regular scheduled mammogram every year. If you're a man having your prostate checked, these tests are there for a reason, and that is to have early detection and prevention. I talked a little bit about this when I talked about breast cancer last month. It's the same thing. It's that early detection, because it's more than likely something small, something that will be treated and taken care of and move on with my life, right? Like, I decided to put all of my trust in God, and knowing that no matter which direction this thing goes, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to heal, and I'm going to be just fine. And then I get to help other women through this, because it can be scary. It can be nerve-wracking. And I'd be lying to you if I said that there wasn't still this part of me that's a little worried, but I'm choosing to just trust God in this process. And you know what? There's not much I can do about it right now, not in this moment, right? I just got to wait to go to my appointment and take it one step at a time. But it's normal. It's normal to feel concerned. It's normal to feel worried. The one thing I do not recommend you do is go spiral into you know, this vicious cycle of Google searches and put yourself onto this, rabbit hole, and get yourself worked up thinking worst case scenario, because the chances are it's not worst case scenario. 1% of women will find out they have cervical cancer with this test. Now, last June, I was fine, nothing wrong, no issues. Everything was good to go. So whatever it is, it's fairly new and recent, and will be taken care of and treated. And that's why we have a healthcare system. That's why we have doctors. That's why we have what we have. So today, I am good. Today, I am happy and healthy and thriving. And you know what? I'm going to continue to keep my mind set for that, right? So remember, it is important to make sure that you are getting screened yearly, no matter how old you are, right? Until your doctor tells you that it's no longer necessary, keep getting screened, keeping up on your health and well-being, because you matter. You are not alone, ladies. That's why I'm making this episode. I'm creating this episode to let you know that this is not something that you are alone in, that you have a sisterhood here, right? You have a village of women that have been through this and can tell you that you're going to be okay, that can hold your hand through it, that can tell you that it's okay to feel your feelings. And I'm going to help carry you through this. And the other purpose for this episode is to, help you through, not only through the emotional aspect, but the practical steps of handling this. So let's talk a little bit about understanding the medical side. So what does abnormal mean? Let me just start by saying that it does not mean cancer. Again, abnormal It does not mean cancer. Common causes of these types of results are infections, inflammation, HPV, cellular changes, right? That need monitoring, like, or, to monitor is the word that I wanted to say there, but whatever. Human being. Oops. But monitor, monitor these things, right? It doesn't mean worst case scenario cancer. It just means that you could potentially have an infection, inflammation, something to that nature that just needs to be monitored. And that's it, right? There are other the follow-up procedures, like I'm going to have a colposcopy and a biopsy, right? So colposcopy, biopsy, repeat pap smears, those are usually the follow-up procedures that your doctor, based on their findings and what they feel is the best route to go. And the thing is that they'll do the colposcopy, and if they don't really see anything during that exam, that's not of too much concern. If they don't see anything with the tissue, they most likely won't biopsy. But if they see something that looks concerning, they'll do a biopsy. But they can't tell unless they go in with the colposcopy, and the colposcopy is just essentially they're going in with just a stronger scope, a different type of scope to be able to visualize what's going on there, right? So again, it's not cancer. And I want to keep stressing that because these are standard procedures. All right. And it is important to make sure that you keep communicating with your healthcare providers. Ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask questions. If you have concerns, ask questions. Don't be afraid to be annoying, or I don't want to be a pest. I don't want to be difficult. You have every right to advocate for yourself and ask questions so that you can understand exactly what's being presented to you, right? How are we supposed to know what's going on when it's something new, right? Something you've not experienced and you haven't had a lot of education on. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And your healthcare provider, if they are a good healthcare provider like mine is, they will sit and they will listen and they will answer your questions and they will make sure that you have a full understanding of what's happening. The next thing I want to talk about is that emotional impact. So the emotions that might come up for you are shock, fear, anxiety. You may even feel guilt, right, for feeling those things because, if this is so normal, why do I feel this way? Guess what? All of those things are normal. All of those feelings are normal. Many women feel overwhelmed because of that societal pressure to be perfectly healthy. Like that's something that I deal with. I strive to be as healthy as I possibly can, but sometimes I fall short, right? Like sometimes I kind of slack off on exercising, or guess what? I'll have a muffin or a cookie. And then, you know, you sit there and there's that subconscious little voice that says how bad that is, right? Because you're supposed to be, I'm trying to be good, right? Because I have to be healthy and I have to be toned and I have to be this because I'm a woman and I have to be pretty and blah, 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 and perfect and whatever else. And the thing is that shit happens that is outside of our control. This is one of those things. And don't put pressure on yourself here. There's nothing that you've done wrong. Nothing that you've done wrong. HPV, very common in women. It's an infection. And a lot of times it might show up in PAPs and it may be such a little minute thing. And they'll just be like, guess what? You know what? This is common. This happens. We're not worried about it. It's going to go away. We'll monitor you next year. We'll see how you're doing next year. Sometimes you have a few years where nothing shows up, you're good, and then it comes right back because it's a virus. It's like the flu, right? It happens. It's common. It doesn't mean that it was sexually transmitted. It doesn't mean that it was given to you or you did something wrong. It's a virus. It's no different than you getting bronchitis, the flu, COVID-19, whatever's going on out there. Not something that you did wrong. It will be treated and taken care of, right? When those feelings of anxiety or feeling shock and fear come up, I want you to pause and take some slow, deep breaths and allow yourself to feel these emotions without judgment, especially if you're hearing those little voices in your head that's telling you that you're being dramatic, that you're taking this to another level. There's no reason for you to be upset. It's so common. Everybody gets this. It's the. You're going to hear that stuff in your mind, and there may actually be people in your life who say those things to you. Because I heard it. I've heard it with other things in my life too. And that's where I hear go to. It's like, why are you so worried? There's nothing to be worried about. Don't. And then you find yourself saying it to yourself, and then you say it out loud and you try to brush it off like it's no big deal. But deep down inside, you're feeling a certain way. Allow yourself to feel that without judgment and take some slow, deep breaths. Seek support from other women, people that you trust, your friends, your family, even if it's a counselor or someone like myself who's a coach, who works with women, who specializes in women's health, women's mental health, women in general, all of it. Because guess what? I've been through it and I'm going through it. Lean on support. And I hate to say it, not every man, and you can't expect a man to understand if they're not able to, right? Like if it's not something that they completely understand and they're not emotionally capable of being there for you, try not to have those expectations. And it's not their fault. It's no one's fault. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know how to handle certain things. Sometimes there are people in our lives, man, female, who they put you in that place of perfect and healthy. And when something may be wrong, they don't know how to handle that emotionally. And seeing you upset stirs up their own anxieties. So they try to diminish yours and shut yours down for the sake of themselves. That's not your problem. You just don't go lean on them for that emotional support that you need. You have to lean on somebody who's been through it and understands it. So lean on your ladies, lean on your mother, lean on your grandmother, lean on your coach, lean on your people. Not all, and I hate to say that I don't want to make it sound like I'm bashing men because there are men out there that are able to give you that safe space. And if they don't understand, they're still able to tell you that it's okay and tell you that they're here for you and that I may not understand exactly what you're going through, but we're going to navigate this together. I say lean on your ladies because we need that sisterhood going through stuff that's specifically centered around women. It's like when men get upset about things that we don't experience, that we don't necessarily understand. We don't necessarily know what they're going through because that's not, men and women think differently. We just do. We react to emotions differently. We feel things differently. That's just science. But just know that your ladies are there for you. And there are the men in your life will be there for you too. Just I was trying to basically say, don't set such high expectations and get angry if they don't fully understand. Because they aren't going to go through this, but they absolutely, are going to be there for you. Next, journal. Journal, write down the fears, write out your emotions, put it out there on a piece of paper between you, that journal, and God. Write the fears, write the facts, put them down all on paper and help process what's in your mind so that you can help release it so that you're not suppressing it down. The next thing I want to talk about is building resilience and taking back your control. Focus on what you can do. Schedule that next follow-up appointment when your doctor says, I want to bring you back for another PEP or bring you in for a colposcopy. Go schedule those appointments and go and follow up promptly. Don't wait. Get it taken care of. Learn about preventative measures like vaccines or, healthier lifestyle choices. Talk to your doctor about what you can do in these instances to try to be more preventative, right? So it's like, okay, so they do have, and I didn't even know, I forgot that this even happened. I think when I was a teenager, when they first came out with that HPV vaccine, my sisters and I all had it. They do have that option available. I don't know much about it. I don't know if there's an age restriction. Like, I don't know if they give it to you in your 40s or not, but that's something to talk about with your doctor, and they will give you the best options for you and what you can do at home to help better care for your vajayjay. Okay. All right. Um, you know, and abnormal results are not a verdict. There's an opportunity to prioritize yourself and your health. So when you talk to your doctor about preventative measures, now you know a new way of caring for yourself that you didn't know before to help be able to make sure that this isn't something that happens again, right? If you're a smoker, maybe use this as your cue to quit. If you're living on highly processed foods and you're not getting enough nutrients into your body, use that as a cue that you need to take care of yourself a little bit better. Stress. I'm guilty of this. Stress. Stress can wreak havoc. Learn how to manage your stress in a healthy way. Exercise, meditation, deep breathing, journaling, right? But take that time, talk to your doctor, ask questions, and furthermore, advocate for yourself. Because if you don't feel like you're being heard, make sure your voice is being heard. Make sure your questions are being asked. If your doctor cannot provide you with that need, there are other doctors out there that will. Advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask and express what your needs are in these moments. Because let's face it, doctors are busy. They have a lot of patients, and sometimes they're burnt out because the healthcare, there's a lack of healthcare professionals. So many people left the field. So these are a lot of our healthcare workers are burnt out. And sometimes as a result, their compassion doesn't seem to be present. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where they just kind of seem like they're just not interested. Make them interested. Say what you got to say because you are the patient. You are the priority. Their job is to make sure that they are taking care of you. And that means listening and meeting your needs. Because their feelings, I'm sorry, and is not as important as your health and your well-being. I have talked to several women over the course of the last week who have experienced this. And I can tell you that each and every single one of them are healthy. Each and every single one of them are happy and thriving. Only one went through the experience of actual cervical cancer. And they are clear of it now. And they are healthy now and fine. And even while they went through it, they were still able to live a healthy life, a thriving life, and a successful life and a successful career. Just because they find these abnormalities does not mean that it's doom and gloom. It just means you did the right thing by taking care of yourself. You showed up, you had the exam. Now you get to be proactive. And now you get to learn what you need to do next to help better care for yourself. Your feelings are valid. It is okay to feel what you're feeling. I promise you that. And I promise you that you are not alone in this. And if there's any way that I can be of help in your journey, to be of support, to be a guidance, to be there for you, you can reach out to me. I will put my contact into the description of this podcast. You can email me, L as in M as in Michael, C empowerment@gmail.com. I'll say that again, L, M as in Michael, C empowerment@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook, Lori A. Murphy, Empowerment Coach for Women. I'm on Instagram, Lori_Murphy_coaching. You can even find me on LinkedIn, Lori A. Murphy, Empowerment Coach. It's all there. I will put that in the description. Reach out to me. Let's get on a call and let's see how I can help you through this time. To be a guide, to be that person that is helping you through it, being the person that you talk out your feelings with, the person that, will give you that comfort and that safe space. And just, ladies, if you're not doing this on a regular basis, if you're not going and having your regular scheduled checkups, get scheduled, get your checkups. Make sure you make this a yearly practice. Okay. Again, ask questions, educate yourself about your health. Create a self-care plan to support emotional and physical well-being. Share an empowering message, with your friends. Help them that might be going through this. Let them know that, hey, guess what? I've been through this. I'm going through it. This is how I can be there for you. Empower them, give it back. They're there for you. You're there for them. That's what it's all about. That's sisterhood. Your health journey is unique. It's uniquely yours. Every step you take, no matter how small, it's an action of courage. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me today. And no matter what you face, I want you to remember you are resilient, you are powerful, and you are capable of navigating the unexpected. Thank you so much for listening. And ladies, again, reach out. Let's get on a call. How can I be of support to you? I am here for you. I got your back. And just remember this, let go of fear and let your spirit shine.